Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are talking today to Karen Gordon. She's the owner of J. Gordon Designs, and she's the president of Cosmetologists Chicago. So who better to talk to about how stylists, beauty professionals are being affected by the COVID-19 shutdown, the COVID-19 crisis. And Karen, we were chatting earlier just about how personally and professionally we've all been through that kind of roller coaster. This is a really extreme example, and I'm sure people are looking to you for some leadership and for some guidance for how to navigate these kind of choppy waters. What are you telling them?
Well, first, Jan, thank you. It's really nice to reconnect with you and to spend some time. It's everybody who's watching. I hope everybody's well and everybody's safe. And I look forward to the day that we can all get back into business. You know, I think this one has really taken us by surprise. And whoever thought that this would happen. And some people went into this with their business in good shape. And some people went into it with their business not in good shape, or individuals with their personal finances in good shape and some not. And it's a hard one to process. I mean, nobody thought that we'd be clobbered. There's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, it'd be nice to prepare knowing that the open date is May 1st or May 15th, but it keeps getting pushed down. And I think you have to be a little organic in the process, be resilient. You know, every day is something new that's coming at you. I think you got to kind of just take a deep breath every day, process what the new information is, be it that loans got cut off or they moved down the date or more people passed in your community, and just take each day, one day at a time, process it, and know this too is going to pass. I mean, it's not good, but it's going to pass. And, you know, you can't really plan when there's uncertainty, but there are some things we do know, and the doors will reopen one day. That's what you should plan on. You know, what's it going to look like when you come back? You and I talk in a very interesting day. It would have been my husband's birthday. I lost my husband about 4.5 years ago, Jerry Gordon. And that was a crisis, but that I kind of knew was coming. You know, I knew he wasn't well. I had time to prepare. We had time to think about it. COVID-19, who had time to prepare for this? Nobody knew this was coming. So this is a really unusual set of circumstances that we're in right now. So just hang tight.
Yes, and you know, when Jerry passed, that was huge for the industry because, again, of course, an enormous personal loss for you. But when people have looked to someone for leadership, for inspiration, for guidance, and that's lost, you know, you're right. You kind of scramble, and we're all putting out all these different feelers out there, like, who should I listen to? Who should I follow? Whose advice is going to be best? How do you know, we were talking about just getting through, being persistent, staying the course. What do you think is a known? What is a known right now that we can prepare for, that we know is going to happen?
Yeah, we know that we're going to reopen. We just don't know the day we're going to reopen. We know that the protocol is going to look different when we reopen. We know that if you're a salon owner, some of your stylists are going to be afraid to come back and to be around a lot of people, not necessarily knowing whether they still could be carrying the virus. Maybe they're not carrying the virus. You know, those are the things I think that are going to be the scariest things. So what we know is that we have to change our protocol. We have to change it up so that our teams feel safe, that we feel safe, that our clients, our guests feel safe coming into our environment. And those are the kinds of things that we can start working on now. I see a lot of chatter online, a lot of people talking about, you know, how are we going to set up our salons differently with social distancing, with sanitation stations, with who's going to be wearing a mask, who's going to be wearing gloves. Those are the things that, you know, we can do while we're at home, get that protocol down, maybe get our team. I'm going to ask my team to do the barbicide certification, all of them. I know other people who are going to put together, my dear friend Nick Arrojo is putting together a charter for what he wants his team to do at each station and for sanitation, have everybody sign off on it. Those are the things that we should be doing in this time, using the time that we have on our hands to prepare for what the knowns are. And also, I was talking to someone earlier today we know money's going to be tight. So maybe we need to look at how we're going to manage our money a little bit better down the road. Maybe there are areas that we need to cut back on. Maybe even sadly, some people we need to cut back on. Maybe it's just subscriptions, and maybe it's, the cost of our color, things like that. Those are the things that we can prepare for, because we know that the day will come when we can open our doors again. We just don't know when.
How have you been talking to your team through all of this? How have you stayed connected and made sure the communication lines were open and that, they all, I'm sure, have had answers? How have you responded?
I know a lot of people do Zoom calls like every Monday with their team. I don't, but I reach out to my team about twice a week and just give them little updates of what we're doing. My manager still comes into the salon and works privately, door closed, nobody around her. She's been very instrumental in helping me get through this process. So I bring them up to date on what we're doing, what she and I are doing, to keep the business afloat and to communicate with clients. I let them know what we're sending out emails 3 times a week to our clients, giving them sales, promos, specials, just little tidbits, little pieces of information. So I try to keep them up to date on that. But you just try to keep morale up. We're going to have a cocktail party next week. Next Wednesday, cocktail party for the Jay Gordon team, online. It's going to be fun. And as we get closer to an opening date, we're going to have more meetings. We're really going to discuss what we're going to do. We'll have some pricing changes. That's one thing we're going to have to do to compensate for the time that we've been off. I'm looking right now, is it a surcharge that's added on the end of the ticket, or do we raise the price of every ticket? And I know people have different views on that, but we have to make up for a little bit of lost time. You just can't go back and charge exactly the same, but yet provide masks and gloves and take out every other station and only do half the amount of people you did. We got to make up for the past a little bit. So, we'll have a discussion about that. But I keep in touch with them kind of loosely and nicely, and sometimes just pass along a funny joke or a funny picture. But there's really not a whole lot to discuss because we're out of business.
Right. And because there are, there's so many things out of your control and so many unknowns. So you're right, we don't have answers. Now, putting on your president's hat for a second now too. So within your business, which is kind of micro, you're also with a whole association in a very macro view. You're having to look at the industry as a whole and how it relates within other sectors and the economy. And you don't have to share, insider details, but how are you talking to others on the board and what's the discussion there?
We have a really great board, and it's a very cohesive board, and Cosmetologists Chicago is under new leadership. It's kind of funny, America's Beauty Show was scheduled to start tomorrow, and obviously that's not going to happen. But we keep in touch on a regular basis. We have regular phone calls, Zoom meetings. But this is a strong, hardworking board under Frank Folco's leadership, and I'm very, very excited about that. I think the one thing, if there's a silver lining in all of this, I think we all agree that the industry has been very fragmented up until now. And I'm not blaming anybody, and there's no offense in that, but there's the PBA, there's Intercoiffure, there's CC, there's 2 to 10, there's all these different groups, all doing great things. And I think we're going to find that the silver lining is we're all going to come together and work together differently. We realize that one group is working hard on legislation, one is working, which, hasn't gone through very well for the tax credit or for keeping our licensing and all the rest. But I think this is going to make us want to come together as a stronger community. I know other people who want to start associations right now because we need a voice. The restaurant industry gets all the PR and they're on the news all the time about how much the restaurant workers are hurting. Well, what about the hairdressers? So we need stronger lobbyists. We know that. We know that we need stronger marketing for our industry out there. I know Frank, our CEO, is having weekly or biweekly meetings with other industry leaders to get their perspective and their view to see how we can all come together and move this industry forward with more respect, better earnings for all of us, and more protection for all of us as well. So that's the good that's going to come out of it. But the industry, through Cosmetologists Chicago, we have a really hardworking, active board, very active board, and it's all volunteer. I think we all feel like we've been given an opportunity to make a mark on the industry and try to leave it a better place for future generations, or at least that's how I feel.
You know, it's very poignant that you pointed out today would have been the start of ABS. I kind of lost, I sort of lost that in the shuffle of everything, because this has been such a tumultuous time and so much has happened and things have changed hour to hour.
Tonight would have been the President's Party. Tonight would have been the Taste Friday, right? Tonight would have been the President's Party, and tomorrow the show would have started. So.
Oh my gosh.
And then, you know, it was a heartbreak to have to cancel the show. It was very difficult, but McCormick Place has now been set up for beds as a makeshift hospital. But again, you know, you make from lemons you make lemonade, and we have huge plans for next year. I'm sad that the show was canceled, but it also gave us, under new leadership, a chance to have a fresh start. We're moving to Rosemont next year. I don't know if you know that, but ABS 2021, it's no secret. But a lot of people didn't know, but now they know. And the response has been overwhelmingly positive. You know, I'm a city girl. I love being in the city, but I went out and checked out Rosemont, and I'm telling you, it's great. It's by the airport, all the big restaurants. It's got a theater there. It's got good shuttle service from the hotels to the convention center. And it gives us a chance to change the look of what a trade show should look like. It's going to be very different in 2021. So, you know, maybe it's a good thing it didn't happen this year. It's sad that it happened under these circumstances, but it gives us a real chance to reinvent it. So.
Yes, and I think reinvention is sort of on everybody's to-do list right now, because every industry is looking at themselves a little different, and we don't know what that's going to be. But I'm so happy you could take a little time just to kind of update us, check in, and
I'm thrilled to connect. I love my industry. You know, really the beauty of this is that we're all so connected, and so many guest artists and coaches and business leaders have been doing free online podcast education. It's just, the community has been beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I agree. I mean,
I'm proud of all of us.
Yes, I've always loved the industry, and now, as you said, I feel like even though we're all physically distanced, we are more connected than ever. So thank you. I'm going to stop recording, but just stay on so I can say a personal goodbye.
All righty. Thanks, everybody.